Merry meet everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to do a bit of poppet magic. It's something I'm just getting into. This poppet is going to be for my healing. Letha is coming up, and Letha is full of vitality, and there's two main areas that are really powerful to do magic with at Letha, and one of them is health. So this puppet is for me. Now Poppet Magick is sympathetic magic. So here I'm using blue felt and red felt because blue to me symbolizes health, and so that's what I'm going to make my poppet from. The idea is to cut or to have a shape that is in the image of what it is that you're wanting to focus your intent on. So mine is a human shape. Sympathetic magic is following the idea that if something looks like something else, then there's a symbiotic connection with that thing. So this is supposed to represent me. And a sympathetic means that there's an effect which arises from an action that's elsewhere. So what you fill your poppet with enhances what's inside yourself when you put your tag locks in it. And I'll talk about that maybe in a later video. So this one, I'm just pinning my little poppet template there on my blue felt, and then I'm going to cut around it. So sympathetic or doll magic is actually one of the oldest forms of magic around, and it goes way back when. But in simple terms, I can do another video on that, but in simple terms, when casting spells, you generally want to create a mental picture of what it is that you want to happen and put your energy into that to make it real in the world. And creating a physical object like a poppet helps you to focus your intent or what you want into something that you can see. So if you're trying to work on yourself, then it's very hard to look at yourself and concentrate your intent. But if you've got a poppet there in front of you, you can do that. So I was having a bit of trouble cutting this poppet out of the felt. I think my scissors were very blunt, so I must sharpen them. I do have a thing to sharpen them. So for witches, poppets or dolls, because poppets can be made of anything. You can make them out of paper, you can make them out of sand, you can make them out of clay, you can make them out of sticks. You can buy real dolls. You can have them made for you. But for witches, dolls can be a companion in magic, protectors of your homes, and the focus of spells and magic. They're not toys, and they're not things to be taken lightly. So when you're making one, don't do it just for fun, because what you put out into the universe is what you get back sometimes, and might be not in a way that you actually want. So here I'm crafting him. I'm cutting, well, I say him, but it's for me, so I should say she. I'm cutting her out, and it was very difficult, and I think I cut a bit off this because I kept going off screen. I'm terrible at making these types of videos. I keep working close to me, and then you can't see anything. You can't see what I'm doing at all. So once you cut your little poppet out, now this is only a little one, but they take a lot to fill, even little tiny ones like this, believe you me. Now some people like to embroider or sew eyes on, mouth on, face on. I'm not going to do that with mine. I'm just going to sew my little heart on. And when you start making poppets, you have to, before you start, you have to know what your intent is. So your intention is your goal. What are your goals? What are you making the doll for? Do you want to burn it? Is it something that's going to be quick? I've made poppets out of paper, written things on them, burnt them in my cauldron the same day. You can make poppets that you want to bury outside. If you do that, make sure that the things that you use are biodegradable and can go back to the earth without doing any damage. Do you want your poppet to be long term? Do you want it to be short term? So these are the things you consider when first looking at making a poppet, and then that will say what kinds of materials that you use to it. So this one for me is going to be, well, I'm hoping not long term, but long enough that I want it to last, because these can also, when they have done their work, you can thank them and you can deconstruct them and use them again. So I'm sewing my little heart on here. The sewing doesn't have to be great. You don't have to be, you know, a master at embroidery to do these things, as long as it looks like what it is that you're trying to do. So I'm using embroidery cotton to sew this on, but you could glue it on if you want to. You could even cut out a little heart and actually just put it inside your poppet. You don't have to sew it on. You can sew a face on, you can sew hair on, you can put clothes on it, whatever you want to do. The sky's the limit when making things. You can make them as small as you want to, as big as you want to, whatever. Okay, so I'm just going to sew my little heart on here with some red. Like I said, it doesn't have to be neat. It can just be as neat or as messy as you like. I'm not great at sewing, and this was really hard to do because I was using a tapestry needle and it was blunt, so it was really hard to get through that felt. So I must find my sewing box and get a sharper needle, because I want to make a few more of these for different things. So you just sort of cut it off the back there, and then what you're going to do is, if you want to put a face on it, you do that now before you sew them together, obviously. And it's obvious that I've recorded this and then I'm talking over it because things aren't matching, but it was very noisy in my house with my puppy running around doing things, and so it was just easier to record over the top. So if you want to put your face on, or that, you do it first, put your little poppet together, and then sew around it, leaving a hole obviously so that you can put your stuffing in it. So like I said, doll magic has been around for a while. The ancient Egyptians believed that all statues, images and figures contained something of the spirit of that which it represented. Greek and Roman children had dolls, or the girls had dolls that they made clothes with and obviously played with. But once they got married, they used to dedicate them dolls to a deity, often the Greek goddess Artemis or Diana, who is the Roman equivalent. So, and if you look back, there's, examples of poppets and doll magic right back to the Middle Ages. So when you're sewing this up, make sure that you sew it so that whatever you're stuffing inside your poppet is not going to fall out. So if you're going to put herbs and things in, you don't want it falling out. So you can either sew it with the sewing machine if you have one, but I'm just going to do a blanket stitch with this one. So I've chosen my colour here, a nice dark blue. I think it's dark blue and not purple. And I'm going to stitch round her with that colour. Okay, so thread in my needle, and now I'm tying a knot in the end. I was trying to show it. Again, I do it off camera. So you may make sure that the knot doesn't go through the felt. So I knotted it 3 times together. And then I'm going to leave a hole there to stuff it with and start. And of course I started in the wrong place, so I had to, start. So you go in like that for people who don't know how to do it. Put your cotton in, and you can stuff your little tail inside your poppet so you can't see it. And then with a blanket stitch, you put it through like that and then loop it through and then pull, and make sure the stitches are close together. And don't do it that way where it's long, because it gets knotted. The better way to do it is to pull it through like this, and then there's a little tiny bit left like that, and then you stick your needle through there and pull, and you have less chance of it knotting up when you've got such a long piece of cord. And this doesn't have to look great, just make sure that the stitches are close enough together so whatever you stuff in your little poppet doesn't fall out. So I'm just going to do this, and then I will be back when I've finished to show you what she looks like. Okay guys, so here is my poppet. I've left a space here to fill her with. It took me quite a while, so because the idea is when you're doing the stitches, you're putting your intention into your poppet, what you want, imagining how it would be if you were healed of the thing that you're thinking of being healed from. And so I was doing that, and I was doing it very intentionally. It was taking a while to do it because I was really trying to focus my intent on what it would be like to be healed and what my life would be like after that. So here it is. So this video is already long enough, so I think I'm going to do this in 2 sets because I have to get now all the stuff I need to put into my poppet. So I will see you in the next one to show you how to fill it and to bring it to life. I'll see you then. Bye for now.